Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very impromptu episode of the World of Sasquatch. We managed to squeeze one out this week for our Patreon fans, even though our laptop decided to commit suicide, ritual suicide at that. So, with that said, I believe I know what this is about. This is, I felt the head pressure on the way home, knowing that this was the forest people. And this is an elder group. I believe this is Fu in them, but there are a lot of others protecting this transmission, and it is very, very, I want to say urgent, at the same time informative. And there's also something inquisitive as well. And I completely forgot to put my stones on for protection, so give me a second here. All right. All right. I'll start off. There was a mini recording I did that got eaten by the computer, so I'll just recap. I know exactly what this is about anyway. I've been remembering a lot of what was in those recordings anyhow. So what it was about was Ryan had a conversation. This was another file I've got eaten. We had a conversation, whereas he had to back away from the forest people a little bit because of the fact there were less elders out there, and the newer Sasquatch that are out there have had more of a bigoted attitude towards humans. Like the younger ones, they're controllable, like how some humans are, and it wasn't a very good attitude they expected of. Some were using hand signs, while others were. Well, they were having trouble with telepathic communication. They were getting frustrated with it. Normally, there would be elders there to help give them some upgrades and stuff like that, and updates essentially. But there's not as many to go around because there was a recent conflict where there were less elders. There was a session. Hopefully, I have on a drive. Whereas Ryan was. Asking about his guide Faradas, and we found out Faradas had died sometime before May of 2021, and he was an Anakam elder. And so there have been other elders like Sufas, Adalatic, all of those that have come in, and we talked a little bit loosely about this on Patreon, just a hair about this, but. What is also coming through, there is also a great deal of interference. Wonder there was some urgency here, because I feel this. When you feel this pressure here, sometimes, folks, that's them. This is definitely some a group of them, but there's also an opposing group here. This is very murky. There's a good energy, there's a powerful energy, but there's also not so nice energy. I'm thinking there are some around that are not too good, or not. They don't have a same attitude as say some of the elders. I know they're forest people. It's just that they're younger ones. And yeah, you don't need to be butthurt, friend. All right.
Well, and we've experienced that before with I guess what I would say with mixed concerns, some less concerns, some more concerns. We did one time where there was so much anxiety, it was really crushing.
Yeah, this is there's anxiety here. There are a couple of those. I believe Fuma and Seymour and Mirnak and Morak of them are present, but it's like and Adalatic is here too. All right. What's with the young group here that has so much anxiety? What's this? There's this unsettled energy here. Is there something do they have a beef with me in particular, or what is it exactly? Why is there so much aggression there? They believe what? Oh, you want me to explain some more of the backstory first? Okay. I had also, this was very interesting. This is something that I put on one of these recordings. It's interesting now it can all be here in one place. I kept having this slide into my head like I was an elder Sasquatch talking to some younger ones very frantically And in another language, I'm thinking it was Lemurian or some Native American sounding language, which was that the Sasquatch on this end of the country would be descendant of Lemurian lineages. Yes, I know that is correct. Younger Sasquatch, you don't need to correct me. Okay. He's a teenager. He thinks he's having to correct. This is correct. Yes, this is correct. Yeah, doing this. I don't know who this is, but Isaac just called him Sasquatch Joseph, like your son. He kind of does look like Joseph with a bunch of hair, but a little bit, not a whole lot. But he's just he has the pudgy look like your son, so it's like a little bit. But he has red hair, and it's like down to here. It's like draped, like strange, kind of like this, and it's like no, it's not strange. You don't have to be butthurt. Okay. But,
no, you just apparently look like one of my children. That's all. That's why they're calling you Sasquatch Joseph.
Who called her son the hairless frogman? But they're all hairless. What the hell? That even makes sense. Okay. All right. That didn't make sense.
So we'll call you. Are you acceptable if I call you Joey?
Isaac found that hilarious for some reason. You called him Joey. Okay, that's your name. I don't. You're not saying your name, so you're
I mean,
Joey.
I don't. It's a very endearing name for me to use, so I don't say it in any negative connotation at all.
No, he's sitting there like this one. But
does that offend you?
I think he's a teen. They said he's a teenager. Everything offends him.
Oh well, I'm not trying to offend you. That's an endearing name for me, which I hope you're not offended.
One of the elders called him JOJO now. But the rest of the story is I was in this scenario where like mentally I just kind of slid into the scenario. Sometimes this happens like with a blood relative or if or something like that where I'm just living this scenario. And it's like I was frantic to get across to these younger Sasquatches something like some wisdom that they were denying. And this has been a topic that has come up several times in the past month or so, and it's now come to a head apparently, or Joey here would not be here frowning at me. So there, what was that, Fuma? Oh, you'll explain. All right. Why is the energy so? It was like that for the ladies earlier too. It was all. So
it just is right now. I mean,
they said a couple orbiting turds are actually causing this. So I think they mean Pluto and Mercury, but it's actually no, they mean all of them. Okay, so yeah.
You mean the planetary alignments plus negativity plus whatever.
Yeah. So orbiting turds is the only thing making it.
So the planets have been in a lot of them. Some of them are starting to turn now because this is recorded on October 13th in a retrograde pattern that has really been difficult for a lot of humans. You guys cannot be exempt from this.
They're not.
You must be also feeling.
Neither are the bad guys. Neither are the bad guys.
Yeah, no one's kind of exempt for this, but it certainly can. With its particular function of bringing, of course, things up that need to be shed and shake you up a bit and things like that. It obviously is, timed in a way that when you thought you couldn't handle any more anxiety, here it comes. So related to planetary alignment outside of the other humanity issues that are going on right now. So it's very, very challenging. And I can't imagine that it is not very challenging for all of the Sasquatch forest people as well, and the youth who don't necessarily recognize all of the confounding issues that are going on. However, they would be subjective to things coming up in their past as well that need to hopefully be shed. I'm hoping that this is part of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and there is a sense of urgency, but there's also a remorsefulness too. I don't know what this is about, but
I'm gonna actually turn this light on because
Okay.
it's
going to get really dark in here, and on this computer, it's rather fuzzy. So if you're just going to see a bunch of pixelation if we don't. So here we go. You're going to see a bunch of matrixing and crap in here. So because this is a special computer. So and that's in quotes. So what? There's something. Oh, let's make them a hard.
Why don't
It's
you
like
just go ahead and go into channel because it's very uncomfortable. I feel very uncomfortable too.
they are blocking something fairly bad, but I will say, that was the scene that I've been seeing repeatedly, where I'm speaking this native like language, and that's what the ones in this area they sound like. They can speak English, but they also speak this other language. So it's okay. Right. Which one? Puma? Seymour? Puma? What are you remorseful about? What are you sad about? Usually channelings are unstable and both of us are like all over the place. So this will not take take that long. Whew. Okay.
Why don't you hold on to the orb too?
Wow. Oh, I don't have my hematite one.
You want that one?
Yeah, give me the hematite one. That'll actually help, because that one's actually more suited towards this. So let's see here. Yeah, what happens is the hematite orb will actually assist with this much more easily. So oh man, there is a great deal of anxiety here. There has been for quite some time with the forest people, because they've been hunted. The Mozanet had to assist them. There we go. Yeah, this is what I had to do. So, all right, this is sufficient. What? All right. Usually, being around the forest people anyway, especially in the density they're in, if they were some of them were just sitting next to you, the energy would probably be on overload for one of us. But if they're up there in anxiety, it's more so. So, all right. Okay, through the crystal Fuma, if you would. Oh wow, this isn't cool. Okay. Yes, I am here in a sense of urgency, as he says, because of these issues that are going on right now with some of the more adolescent and teenage Sasquatches, or forest people actually, but you know us as the Sasquatch people. These younger ones, these more, I do not want to say rarefied or as what would you say, they are not as full of wisdom as some of our elders. And some of our elders have been thinned out in the last year or so. Normally, we would be helping them along with many of the teachings that we would need to teach them. Some of them have caused problems. Some of them have stolen things. Some of them have broken things. Some of them have done things akin to haunting. And this is something that we do not condone. Very much like you have a teenager that thinks they are invincible or reckless in some way. And this is essentially the same concept, since we are all cousins of one another. Excuse me, there are bits of interference attempting to negate this conversation. Give me one moment. All right. The younger one that you lovingly called Joey, that's what will henceforth be his name, has caused the most issues for you both here, and has not been showing you courtesy that you should. We know that there have been issues in this household and several others in the area. Not just thanks to him, but there are other groups, alien groups in the area. He has disturbed them all. And technically, we are bringing him forth to show who is the responsible party. This is something that is going on in multiple areas. And he is learning aspects of telepathy, but he's using them not for good things. He has been inundated with some of the very same signals and programming that humans have. And he is displaying them with most, you would say, the most gusto, you would say. He has caused some issues in this household that you've been unaware, and a couple of his friends have. So I am going to also explain what has been happening amongst the elder Anakim and the younger forest people. The ones that are more negative out there, the darker forces out there, such as your government, corporations, some of your compartmentalized projects, and different Dark Orion factions and other aliens have actually hunted us to an extent. And the Mozen and Saranan groups have had to pick up the slack in this area and have assisted us. You heard this also from Dear Levick as well on other programs. But the details behind this are, there are some of our people now that have been responsible for certain things being damaged, certain buildings being harmed, things disappearing objects. And this is not something that we wish. They've even caused harm to other humans, and they are casting our people in a bad light. And this is something that we wish to announce as of this time. This is also something that is causing a great deal of stringiness in some of the energy and some of the strenuousness and anxiety. You see, when our people project out different anxieties, it is far greater than what humans have projected outward. We have a slightly different genomic sequence than yours. It is very, very much alike, but there are more things that are opened up in our genomes. So if something is misused, mind you, it reflects differently or slightly differently on the sound level and on the light level and spectrums. Granted, some of them don't always know the abilities they have, very much like humans. But when they do, some of them wish to goof off. And again, this is unacceptable. We have brought him here to you both to actually have not necessarily him explain, because he refuses to do any couplings or channelings such as this, but the idea is that we wanted to present this to you so that you knew what was going on. And we know even if this is going to be on Patreon, it will enter the Sacred Akashic. So I will go into questions.
So, are you surprised at what Joey and ones that feel the need to do this? Are you surprised? I mean, how many adolescents is this more struggle than normal? Or, I'm just curious. I mean, I'm just curious what's going on with the forest people, how these energies are affecting them, how it's affecting the youth. I just want to know.
It is affecting us quite drastically, sometimes even more so than some humans because of some of the frequencies we exist on. Some of these frequencies are chaotic and cutting into our very own existence. It is very, very tenuous in that area for us. Well, the adolescents, they seem to be giving in to some of these frequencies very much like humans do. We're essentially the same race. So this is understandable how this has, but they themselves have carried it to a different level, to where it is, like I said, more akin to a haunting. And since they cannot be seen by most people, They are mistaken now in recent days for different types of ghosts and ghostly specters, or even demons or forest demons of some kind, very much like some of our ancestors were back in the colonial period, in the period that I originated from. It was very similar with some of the cultures then. How it's affecting the adolescents is that they're becoming very destructive, very defiant, like you would expect a teenager, but you would say on acid. This is, again, unacceptable. What it is doing to their minds and their hearts is very worrisome. I will explain a little bit without going into gross personal details for you both. Just know that when this occurs, this can cause extreme bouts of insane behavior and insanity. They have been doing this to other people, reflecting different frustrations and prejudices on people. And they reflected on humans, and humans reflected back at many others, like very much like light refracting in a prism. And this is not acceptable. This is what has been going on thus far.
So if I'm understanding it, you're saying that they're able to project an emotion that a human will then also then exaggerate as well. So if they're trying to project, let's say, hatred, and they're really projecting it on a human is going to display this uncontrollable rage and hatred towards whomever, fellow humans, whomever's around them, whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, this is exactly what I am saying. Granted, your military is doing things to you guys and us at the same time and on the same note. Mm-hmm. But it is some of our adolescents, such as Joey or JOJO here, who has no choice but to bear this name now until he actually snaps out of this. We tend to, as the Native Americans do, sometimes we will give names to deeds. And this is something that we have currently done for him. The reason we have given, or Isaac has given JoJo or Joey, is not only is this affecting your son in very much the same fashion, but it is affecting Joey here in very much the same fashion. So we reflected that name upon him. No insult intended, but it is very similar, along with the different attacks that are taking place right now with your AI, your military, especially military, impersonating us at usually every turn, the different corporations, different cosmic energies, earth energies, and solar and planetary energies, very much like your retrogrades. All of this together is extremely harmful if prolonged, and also approaching the Samhain time of year you call Halloween is making it doubly as potent. Thought forms are doubly as potent. But when someone like Joey here gets into the mind of a person, this causes bipolar behavior based upon the similar prejudices or similar feelings he latches on to, projecting his own onto the person, but then exacerbating the particular things. He did not damage your computer, however, that was military, but they were actually after himself to start with, so you can say he was the catalyst for this. He did not physically do that device harm. They did, but they were looking for him nonetheless because he was messing with them. He came around this house because he was hiding in the bubble. You would have seen him as more of a specter or black-like form in the house if you could not see his actual presence. And he would have mimicked also ghost behavior by actually causing physical harm by running you into walls and such. So this is the behavior that he has been conducting over the past couple of weeks or so.
I'm just curious because you had said something how you guys were, no matter how calm you're being right now, you are extremely concerned for the youth of your race. So my curiosity is, amongst the talks of the yourselves plus the elders, you know, what is your forecast for your youth? Do you feel that the most of them will pull out of it? Do you feel that there may be, some choices that you would hope they wouldn't make, or they go down a different road? I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on what's going on?
We hope they go down a different road, and we are redoubling our efforts to ferret out those that are causing the problems. We cannot keep track of all of them. So in this instance, we can ask the people to put out a more of a calming energy towards them. We're not saying tolerate what they've been doing. No, no, no. This is not what I'm saying. Again, this is akin to a haunting. And I keep repeating this because it's been mistaken even by yourselves as a haunting because of the certain lower density of it. Granted, there have been hauntings around you. This is not deniable, but he has been one of them, him and his little band of idiots. But in this particular way, yeah, we are quite concerned, but we are also redoubling our efforts, as I've said, to give them or help give them the wisdom that they so badly need. We do have devices at our disposal to actually block some of these influencing energies, but we do not take free will away from them. They can choose to receive certain upgrades of information. We have the equipment for this, at least the elder tribes do. Some are more like tribes people, like you know, and some choose to be more like tribes people, like us. He himself is more started out more like a rowdy teenager that was curious about the outside world. Then your military started to come after him. Then he felt more prejudice against your kind in general. This is what began this process.
So the truth of the matter is, and you know this, the name that I bestow that now you are taking, he actually must not be able to feel the true intention of me saying that to him, because I say that because you know the intention, you know the feeling that goes with all of this and how I actually feel, about my son. But I'm assuming he cannot feel that. Is that true to say?
This is correct. This is why we are concerned about this. His heart has been rather closed off to him, and he is reflecting that upon yourselves and several others in this area, you see. The heartlessness of, say, your neighbors and their animals, like we would not do, and yourselves towards each other in recent days, and also several others throughout your Granville area here that he has been messing around in, including with some of the evens, which we really don't give a crap about them, but he still cannot, per certain treatises that had been out there, he is actually not allowed to screw with them either. This is causing a big upheaval. Some humans would think, oh, good, it's actually causing chaos. No, with the evens in particular, we're not too terribly concerned. With yourselves and your livelihoods and lives and those around you, yes, we are terribly concerned. Yes, this may sound heartless, but the Ebens have caused trouble for us recently as well. We are not going to cause them any undue harm. We are going to leave them alone. We would just not come to their aid, if I'm saying this correctly. But the people like yourselves, of course, and we know you've been through particular hardships in recent days, and others have as well. We're not saying he is responsible for them all. That would be asinine. That is the energies and a lot of the changes that are taking place currently. But with yourselves and immediate area, he himself is responsible with his friends, and this is happening in different parts of your country as well with adolescent forest people.
Well, it almost reminds me a little bit of and again, I'm going to actually probably not come across good to some people, but all I keep envisioning is, let's say Black Lives Matter and different protests where everyone's like, it's really calm, and you see everything on fire in the background, where, you're trying to portray a calm, but really it's just enraged and, anything but, you know what I mean? So I'm going to ask you this, because since we're so much alike, are your teenagers, I guess I would say it almost reminds me a little bit of, even though you haven't gone into detail, but my sense is it's your version of wokeism. Something something else there.
Yes, your wokeism that is taking place in your society, which is anything but, I might add,
Right.
is essentially what is taking place amongst our teenage groups as well. So you could say they are the BLM of our society. This is actually what is currently taking place. This is actually not a big deal. You are absolutely correct in this assessment. We are not denigrating any particular race. We would not do this, but JOJO here has more of a bigoted mindset in the form of more of a chaotic, righteous attitude.
That again, that the Sasquatches owed all these people have actually caused them harm.
Yes.
And that kind of mindset. Almost like, where's our reparations? Where's our, I'm assuming it has to be encompassing it all, which brings me to another
like
topic.
your native tribes, yes.
Correct. So I guess what I'm saying, it's to see something like that cross over to a different race and a different frequency, it makes me ponder, all of the disinformation that must be being pumped just through the energies unseen that are not only affecting people. I have to go to the doctor tomorrow. One of the last questions on the questionnaire is, what pronoun did I want to be addressed by? And, could I be called her? Could I be called? And first of all, I was taken aback. But second of all, I was actually appalled that the doctors even were having this so quickly, that they had adopted it so quickly on their.
They give in to this particular wokeism because they are being told to on high, let's just say, within their own hierarchies. But at the same time, they have embraced it because they think that it is more of an awakeness when it is actually behind the times.
And again, in the energies behind the scene of all that is actually streaming at them, probably through every ounce of technology we have.
Yes.
I think it's got to be coming not just through TV, but through your phones, through whatever, in an energetic way that you are not reading it. It's an energy stream that's coming and affecting your energy field.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm assuming, obviously, that you're, because we are so close in frequency, that it's pushing through into your bandwidth as well,
yes.
of where you guys are.
Yes, this is exactly what is taking place, like it did last year during the beginning of your COVID scamdemic, you like to call it, which is very apt. This is why some of the elementals were not responding in the same way, like you saw in the Sedona area when you first came out of your hole after you were allowed to come out. The energies from the 5G at the time were the main and sole cause of that, along with some of the more chaotic human energies, and it is no different now.
So, it's kind of interesting, because I'm assuming then everything related to us, the rewriting of your history, the questioning of the legitimacy of your lineage, of your history. What did those elders even know? They probably were lying. Yes. I mean, I can just imagine, seeing how that's translating now into, and it, honestly, as much as we've said there was going to be issues and change, and it was going to be like wave after wave, and endurance tests and this, that, and the other, no way could we have imagined how tough it's going to be. So I must imagine for you guys personally, the more adult versions, the parenting versions, and older, no one there must have actually been able to forecast how bad it was going to even be for you guys.
No, even though, say, weather forecasters don't get it right all the time, there are some things they do get right, but not in the degree that you would understand it. Just like if they are trying to forecast a storm, sometimes they underrate it, sometimes they overrate it. This is no different in this case with the energies. It's more of an energy forecast. You might see it look good on paper, as you would say, or on technology, or in the numbers. But by actually experiencing it, it could be far worse or less worse.
So for us, what we've been saying over the years here now for us are things like try to remember what brings you joy and be more involved with this, turn off the technology, get back into nature, all of the strategies to try and get away from all of that not so wanted energy streaming your way. So in that sense, what are you guys able to do to more isolate or get them away from these energies? What are you guys trying to do?
We're attempting to, what you would say, corral them, which is not necessarily feasible, but we are attempting to reason with them, which is a tougher job, mind you, but we are attempting to do so. We are exuding our energy influences as well. But remember, they have this very same influences, as we had also previously mentioned with JoJo here. He was exerting negative influences on you. We have done nothing but exert heart space influences on them. And this is what we are attempting, short of actually chaining them to something, which we were sorely tempted to do with himself here. But in that case, we do not act like that. We are showing them we are not barbarians like the face eaters and some of the other baboon races. Not all of them are bad, or not all the monkey races are. But also there are chimpanzee types that are more the special case amongst our genome in that way. But I will not get into that. But we are trying to show them the difference between the barbaric type and ourselves, and we are vastly different in evolution than face eater types and some of these baboon-like beings, and some of these more cannibalistic type, giant type beings, either Nordic type, Viking type, or ones like ourselves. And there's also human-looking ones as well that live in the hills. That's where you get the cannibals in the hills type stories, or the hills have eyes type stories, things of that nature. Those were more degenerated. We are showing them that the path they're following could create a weird offshoot genomic sequence that could turn into something more like those other offshoots. This is something we are attempting to avoid.
So my curious is, because just earlier today, I couldn't figure out why there was a sense of urgency to come in right now, because we just recorded a show earlier. However, the show that we recorded earlier had to do with music
and
tones. So it reminded me when you sort of had this problem that there is for humans, there's a tribe in Africa that they're so spiritual that even before the baby is born, the mother has to know the tone of the child, and then she presents the tone of the child to the father. It's now time to conceive. And then, God forbid, there's any problems with the child, going astray. Everyone in the village is taught the tone of the child. And I don't want to say it's a punishment. It doesn't sound like a punishment at all. The child is brought before the group, and they sing him. They remind him who he is,
yes.
His frequency. So it's interesting, again, that we did a music show earlier to try to get people to utilize music as healing and transformative.
This is exactly what we are doing in that way with our energetic influence. You said it best, because of the toning. This is exactly what we are doing.
That's good. I find it, I just find it really good. So is it more of an endurance test right now? And I only mean this because you guys are so naturally sheltered in nature anyway, which to me means that the energies that are coming through are rough. They are really, really rough if they can even penetrate so harshly into the environments that you guys are currently in. So is there a forecast of the tumultuousness of the energy? Is there a forecast of a calming that will then help calm even your teams coming? Or is it going to be still the wave and still the, almost personal trial by fire that they're now going through to not lose themselves within it?
It is more of a personal trial by fire, but at the same time, we are teaching them the analam, the calm. We're teaching them this through the toning. Granted, they're going through their own personal, as you would say, lineage curses in a way, but they've also been inundated with a lot of these very same signals that you have been. So it is proving to be a challenge, especially in the modern day. If it had been even 100 years ago, it would have been much easier to go through this challenge. It is the era that it is, unfortunately, because of the timing of all of this. But it is not without its merits, and is also not impossible. So we know that it is something that is vastly needed as of this time. It is working in some areas, not at all at the moment, because you have rogues and wild type people that are running through the brush and running through different farmsteads and homesteads, doing the things that they do, very much like teenagers go on little cruising bouts and such. This is very similar to how human teenagers act, but think of teenagers with superpowers, and this is essentially what is going on. Mental superpowers, mind you, but this is essentially what is happening.
So, I don't really know much more to say except that I guess my sense is that this is important for your youth to sense something other than, I'm not enraged at him. I'm not angry. I want him to weather this, because I think it may be hard right now for him to understand how much the forest people are so lovingly respected by so many people, and there is a joy that comes with knowing that they're there, and knowing there's still so much wonder, not a destructive force necessarily coming from our end, because just like in our world, if you keep everybody separated so much, everyone's imagination goes crazy. But if you really finally start interacting, which in the last few days, I've talked to many people, just different interactions, and what they're all saying is, they were so nice. Almost surprised because of the amount of stress going on. Why would somebody still be able to find it within themselves to bring forth a kindness and a compassion? We see it with just computer IT people that we ran across. Other people saw it with, and they were amazed, with medical professionals who they know are overstressed and overtaxed, but people are finding it from within themselves, pulling it out of their toes to still show kindness and compassion. But if you didn't get out there, then you're just left to your imagination and this constant other energies that are coming in saying, hate, separate, don't trust this, that, and the other. When in all actuality, person to person, in many cases, it is completely the opposite of that. And so people have to try to find a way now to re-interact. So my point in saying that is that I personally hope there comes a moment where he would not be ashamed of the name Joey or JoJo, because I don't say it in any other way but genuine loving kindness, because the person in my life that carries that name, I hold so much love and regard for. So I would hope eventually you can feel that instead of what you're feeling now. And I just lend my support to you all and my compassion, because it's so hard on our end. We worry so much about our youth right now, increasing suicide rates and different problems. So I certainly have to lend my support and my compassion for everything you guys are going through. And I know Chris feels the same.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we do feel the same. The name was not meant as an insult. It just happened to match a set of deeds and a set of actions, not necessarily as in negativity, but in more of a label of adolescence or a label of certain hardship.
Yeah, I guess, but my point is that if he can really feel why I meant it, it means he's healed.
Yes, that is true. He is feeling this right now. He's starting to feel a little bit of this, but he has a long road ahead of him in that particular way. Him and his buddies that are around even now that are curious as to what is going on. They did not necessarily know we were here along with him. They were looking for him. So we kind of laid a trap for them in a way. But now that they are here, they are actually being told what the current conversation has been through different telepathy and different energetic infusion means. Very much like you can do a touch telepathy, like a Vulcan on Star Trek. You can then pass on a conversation that way, touching the face or any part of the body, the back, the spine, and that can be put in that way. This is all that we came to say currently, but this was the sense of urgency because this was a problem that was going undetected, even by yourselves, because you had invited all of our presences in as a benevolence. And we are telling you that there is a difference in intentions with some of us. This you've known because you were drawing true benevolence. We are just saying that JoJo here is able to transcend your barriers because the whole of the forest people, even benevolence or neutral, was invited in. We are just saying he himself and his friends alone were doing these deeds along with the military. They got the military riled up, even though the military was hunting them. They decided to torment, and you've seen the result. So with that said, with the rabble rousing that has taken place, you will see a calm in the next few days because of this, because JoJo will not be around. He will only be allowed back, and his friends will be allowed back if they show the common courtesy of not only announcing themselves before you both, but have the decency to speak in a civilized manner instead of haunting your home and the other homes around and causing the reflection of heartlessness that he was displaying. And yes, this is more of a scolding and a roast, you would call it. This is essentially why we have done this, but this is also quite mainly an intervention. So this is what we have come to say. If you have anything else you wish to add.
No, only that I honestly wish all of you well. And, I feel great compassion for the struggles that everyone is going through right now. And, I hope you find what really represents who you are and what you wish to bring.
Yes, we wish this as well. Since JoJo cannot speak in this fashion, we will speak for him. And we are seeing that now he is listening to this as at least semi-apologetic in his own way, even though he does not show it. So we are going to take him and run. So this has been another pleasure and honor, like we normally have. We will be in touch when the energies are less chaotic, and we will give an update as soon as we can. So blessings to all of you and those that are not present. All right. Yeah, I could see JoJo. He had this look on his face, like he was like most of the time like this. He looked like your son Joseph with the pudgy cheeks a lot, like a hairy version of him, but with like a narrower chin and a goatee. Like if Joseph had like red hair, like he looked like Seymour had the red hair like an orangutan, but it was like had like a grayer pigment into a Caucasian pigment of the skin, and but he had slightly larger eyes, but he looked pretty close to Joseph. If Joseph was a horse person, so it's like pretty close, but he's much taller. JoJo is probably somewhere around I would have to say 7 feet tall, something like that. They're showing me the size comparison. JoJo is pretty big, but he's still an adolescent. That he might get about 8 or 9 feet after a while. But males tend to grow pretty quickly. I think females grow a little faster. Almost the same, but a little faster. That's what I was thinking. I never see any of the female ones among you. Some of the ones we first encountered. They'll be around too. Okay, yeah. We never see any of the female ones. So yeah, did when we were in Nebraska. But yeah, this was actually very impromptu. I knew it was urgent that because I guess they had just found out what JoJo and his friends were doing, so they came by here to like kind of just bitch slap him a little bit. But it's like they just kind of, but it's like that's kind of how it's being described. Like they're going, like what the hell is wrong with you, sort of thing. But that's why Fuma and them were very remorseful because some of the activity that's been going around here was him. So, and I have been seeing these black tall shadowy things move around, and forest people can look like that in a house sometimes because they're physically there. And also other beings that we've been encountering too. We've been encountering military, Orions, different Lincoln Air Forces, but at the same time, it's been mostly military, and now we know who's responsible for some of the emotional bullying. So, so yes, thank you, Fuma and Seymour, and any of the others that are there. Thank you, love to you guys. The other teenagers are like kind of look around like this. There's a couple of really short ones too. I think there's some kids in there too that they have with them. They're like maybe the height of a toddler. Those are baby ones that they have with them that are just kind of clinging to them. But they what did you call him, Isaac? I'm not even going to repeat that. Okay, let me see. He just said hairy kids or something like that. I didn't hear all of it. There was some snarkiness mixed in there, but oh, I know what you said. He said hairy boogers. Okay, he's always going to say booger. Okay, technically that means demon, but anyway. But yeah, where that came about is when people would say "God bless you," they associate with boogers, and they would say you're getting the demons out. Booger meant like wood booger, and they were calling. That's where that came from. That's why. Yes, I know if I have to explain the joke, Isaac, it doesn't work. I understand, but it was a stupid one to begin with. But anyway, they're pointing at him doing this, like, they're using my term. They're calling him Carrot Top. Okay, like when we were in Vegas and saw Carrot Top. Yeah, that's it was Isaac has bright flame red hair, so they're calling him Carrot Top at the moment. But anyhow, this has actually been very interesting. I didn't actually expect this. It was just really quick. That shows how some things can slip past my radar. I was seeing it, but I wasn't seeing it for what it actually was. So I didn't suspect the forest people. I knew they had some adolescents from talking to Ryan that were not being very nice, but I didn't think it was going to this extent. So this is actually more of a warning, but at the same time, this is a cautionary tale. You have to discern what is around, and don't just bulk invite beings in. Just say true benevolence of this group, ones with good intentions, with no hidden agendas, or like what JoJo and them were doing, no belligerence or anything like that, or no thefts, no energy mind wipes doing stuff like that. No, you don't want that, or emotional upheaval. You don't want that. So he was just reflecting that on us and on some of the people in the neighborhood. So that said, I think we're good. We're almost at an hour here, so I think we can end this episode. So thank you everybody for watching this impromptu episode of the world of Sasquatch. And we thank you for subscribing to this Patreon channel or wherever this video ends up in subscription form. So thank you everybody. Bye-bye.
Hello. I want to give an update on an addendum to this world of Sasquatch that you are currently seeing. Before we went to, I believe it was before we went to FearCon, the day before or the morning of, JoJo, or Harry Joseph, however you want to call him, he took slight offense to the name, but he was an adolescent teenager after all. What happened? I'll get out of the fan out of there. What happened was he showed back up, and because I felt some more emotional upheaval from another source, and it was him. But he was able to talk a little bit better telepathically, but at the same time, there were military people hunting him. He was doing the same thing. He was coming around, and he was causing some emotional instability, but he didn't know how to hide himself. And the military came around again. Those that were in the other frequency were starting to hunt him. And they were coming up behind him and managed to get rid of him. and I alerted Fuma and them that JoJo was around, and they said they were grateful that I'd gotten rid of those military. But what happened was JoJo was slightly more taken aback by what had happened. I was able to swirl an energy blade around him and get rid of the military that were around him, and I said, get out of here, go. This is why you can't be around. This is why your family says you can't be around. So if you're calling out to the forest people, just make sure that you're not in an area that there could be possible military involvement or cabal involvement somewhere. Not somewhere close to some satanic ritual site, not somewhere close to some base or something like that, unless you know that you're talking to one of the more advanced ones, not just blanket Sasquatch, the Anakim and or elder line Anakim or their family lineage, ones that are benevolent and more wise. You can't blanket all of them, folks. They're not all wise. They're like us. That's like saying all humans are like Buddha. No. In all actuality, that story was very different than what you think, just like with the Jesus one, but we're not going there. But yeah, this is what I wanted to get at. This was something that needed to be said. It was very similar to a story we had in Nebraska where there was another race that was being hunted by the men in black. There was back when I was on Diamonds, there was a figure by the name of Buddy Moon that he called himself Buddy Moon. I have to revet that whole species and that whole story behind Buddy Moon. Whereas I was getting photographs of him coming down from the moon, and then he wanted entry into our home. He looked kind of like the Thing from Fantastic Four, but grayish color. Eventually the adults were more of a blackish stone-like color. They're a stone race from the Boots, as far as I know, along with the Fjorgi. But the story was very similar with him. He was a child or an adolescent, and the men in black were hunting him, trying to net him. And AI was trying to net him, and I managed to get rid of it. And then we formed a rapport with Buddy Moon, whose actual name was LeBrace of Rock People of the Boots. And his father's name was Ludon. Very similar to the forest people, but stone people instead of forest people. Very interesting story. But it was very similar with JoJo, where they were coming after him because because this was a legitimate being that the military and them didn't want anyone communicating with. They want to hijack, you see, all of the communications, cabal corporations, CIA. You can say, you don't have to say the three-letter agencies. Yeah, any of those want to hijack all channelings everywhere. So this is why channelers have to be careful, especially ones for the forest people. You got to be careful. So this is the addendum that I wanted to put in this episode of The World of Sasquatch. And you'll notice that they're not numbered anymore because I lost track after a while. And to our Patreon fans, know that you're the first ones to know that we're redoing the Q&As. We're keeping going with that. I'm trying to find all the questions that I had previously answered in the previous two scripts that I had. We're gonna try to make it one large Q&A instead of two of them, so we don't lose track this time. But keep sending them in. Keep sending all the questions in. So that's what I had to say here for the addendum. So it is 12:30 p.m. Monday, October 18th, 2021. Thank you.